Okay, if everyone can take a seat, there'll be more time for networking at the end of the talks. I know the most exciting part is the networking, right? But we also have a very exciting lineup of talks today. So if everyone could take a seat. Okay. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Green Talks with Hotels. I'm so thrilled to see all of you here today, and thank you for making the effort to be here today. The fact that you are here means that you or your hotel or your establishment is already on the road to being more sustainable, which is not only potentially very cost-saving and will attract more customers, but also essential for the future of our planet and future generations. I think you all deserve a round of applause for making it here today, so give yourselves a big hand, okay? Okay, my name is Sharon, and I'm the Events Director for the Green Talks Malaysia. And on behalf of the organizers, which you can see up there, I would like to welcome everyone to this event where hoteliers, resort owners, and management can start thinking, interacting, and taking action towards green operations or greener operations. We hope this event will catalyze some new green initiatives. The Green Talks with Hotels is part of a series called Green Talks with Business, and the series is co-hosted by Zureli and Sunway Iskandar and supported by the Iskandar Regional Development Authority. So I just wanted to let you know that today IRDA is providing information about Gaia, which is a soft incentive scheme which hotels and resorts are also eligible to apply for. So today you can talk to the IRDA reps who are here, headed by Mr. Boyd Joman, okay, to find out how you can participate to get your certification through Gaia. I would also like to thank all the participating showcase companies. So today, these are the companies who are participating. We have Synergy, Sensing, Daikin, Zero Mass Water, EcoBio, Back Free, and Blue Event Air. And the water that you're drinking today in the bottles and also from the dispenser, this is actually provided by Back Free, who have launched a new product which is called the Watero unit. So that's why we made it a point not to use any plastic at our events. We also have two community groups here today, which are specially selected because they have some synergy with the hotel industry. And you can hear more about how you can cooperate with them and collaborate with them later. So do open your hearts and be creative about the possibility of collaborating with them. It's all for a good cause. For today's program, we have a series of short talks. This is the program over here. After that, at 11, around about 11, we'll be having another networking session, and you can also interact with the speakers and ask them questions because we won't be having Q&A after each talk. And we'll also encourage all of you to visit all of the displays here today because they all have some very interesting products. And right at the end of the program, there is a site tour of Sunway Iskandar. So it's a great opportunity to take a look at this impressive and massive development here. You will get to see the whole thing, I believe, using the golf buggies. But you just need to register at the front desk for that to let them know. Okay, without further ado, I would like to introduce the first speaker, Mr. Tim Waddington. Sorry, Tim. Is the co-founder and director of Zureli.com. And Zureli is the largest global portal for sustainable products and services, if you're wondering what Zureli is. He also conceptualized the Green Talk series. Tim will share about his vision for Zureli to be a catalyst for the uptake of green products and the model and format for the Green Talks with Business series. So please join me to welcome Tim.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's great to have you all here. I thought I would start not on Zarelli, but just as we are doing hotels. This is a slide I took off Google last night about the growth of the amount of hotels in Malaysia. And that shows a 30% increase over the last couple of years, which is a huge increase in any industry. But it's an indication of where Malaysia's going and the amount of tourism and the amount of business that's being done. But if we put that alongside this slide, this is the actual hotel occupancy rates. And over the same period, that shows only a 6% growth per hotel. But if you couple that with the fact that hotels generally have grown by 30%, it shows a massive increase. But what these two slides show is that you're in a highly competitive business. It's not easy filling your hotels. Consumers these days are much more discerning about what they want. Green is much more an issue than it ever has been. And if you're going to grow, one needs to move with the market forces, and the market definitely is moving green. And you'll hear a lot of talks today about why it's important. Obviously, you've got to cut your costs, you've got to keep an eye on your costs, and a lot of these green products are perceived as expensive, but that is no longer the case. A lot of the solutions are no longer more expensive than traditional methods, and you'll hear some ideas about that. So Zarelli.com is quite a simple concept. We put as many possible products we can on the site to make it as easy for everybody to find solutions to green problems. This is a free listing, so any company that has a green solution, a product or a service can join. And the idea is that we continue to grow the database and we continue to help the world go green. Our mission is quite simple. It's just to help connect the dots. It's a very complicated industry, and we've got so many different factors that we believe having a central website where everything can be found has to be the way forward, or one of the ways forward. So we list company products and we list company information. We make it easy for people to link between one and the other. We don't get in the way. We don't sell anything on the site. It's purely information. And so if you know any companies that are in the green space that want to get some marketing, some digital marketing for free, then let us know and we'll be happy to list them. The products are listed. So Green Talks is what we're here today. This is a small gatherings of industry. We link different industries with the suppliers and the buyers. We believe that the talks that you'll have later, the talks that you'll hear, the presentations, and also the networking will help to change mindsets, will help to promote the use of green products. We do it in a lot of different industries. So today's hotels, but we do F&B, interior design, landscape, construction, etc. And we're also rolling this out next month into Singapore. So if any of you have Singapore connections, then the first Green Talk starts with F&B next month. Next year we roll out to Sydney, Hong Kong, and Seoul. We're also, later in this year, launching a catalogue, which is a bit like Green Talks Online, i.e. we lump together products that are relevant to a particular sector, and we inform people of new ideas through an online catalogue. So if you'd like to be involved in receiving those, then just let us know and we can include you in the mailing lists for that. The idea being, again, if we can put the right products in front of the right people, then change will happen. We work with as many green associations as we can. We're not affiliated with any of them, but our friends from Someway have been a huge help for this, and the Eskandar Development Authority as well. But we work with the green councils where we can, and we work with any other organizations that are promoting the use of green products and technologies. And this is really why we're doing it, because the world desperately needs our help. We definitely need to embrace this. We need change. I don't think that change will happen unless it can be driven from commercial reasons. I don't believe the talk is enough. I think we need to make sure that we're doing stuff commercially as well as for the planet, because none of us are going to not make money because of green. We have to combine those two, and I think that's where Zarelli is slightly different. We take a slightly different approach to some of the other organizations. we're trying to promote commercially green alternatives rather than just green alternatives for the sake of being green. And that's it. So I hope you have a good, interesting morning. It's great to see you here. And I'll now hand over to the first speaker. I'll hand over to Sharon, who can't actually say my name. It's Worthington, but anyway.
Tongue twister, right? Okay, I'll just like to introduce the next speaker. Dr. Jared Koh is the Chief Marketing Officer, Property Development Division of Sunway Berhad. And we are very lucky, I must say, to work with him and his team to make this Green Talk series a reality. He now heads Sunway Properties initiatives in strategic branding and positioning developments within the Sunway Group and brings on board more than 19 years of deep experience in the real estate industry. He will be sharing some exciting new developments, and please join me to welcome Dr. Gerard. Thank you.
Thank you. We're just going to play a quick video first this morning. Thank you.
You're good. Yeah. Times are changing everywhere. Do we dream and do we dare? It's up to you. The door is open wide. Feel the rhythm of today. Learn the part and join the play. The world is here. Let's take it for a ride. Hey, you could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Larger, larger than, bigger, bigger than, living hopes and dreams. Every boy and girl, higher, higher than, brighter, brighter than, all you wanted. And you know, hey, you could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. Hey, you could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Larger, larger than, bigger, bigger than, living hopes and dreams. Every boy and girl, higher, higher than, brighter, brighter than, all you wanted. And you know, hey, you could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. Hey, you could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever wanted. Larger, larger, bigger, bigger, living hopes and dreams. Every boy and fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever wanted. You know you could.
Thank you. Good morning. Before I start, I just want to say congratulations to Tim and Sharon. Well done. We spoke about the Green Talks initiative. I think Sharon, it was about 3-4 months ago now. And Tim, obviously, at every session before it happens. Where's Tim? Sorry, I couldn't find. Where's Tim? Tim? No. Okay. Before every session that he has with the business talks, he always gets quite nervous about how it will turn out. But you know what? Every time after it happens, it always turns out really well. Can we just give a round of clap to the two, please? And obviously, one of the reasons why we were very keen to support Zurelli when Sharon and team approached us was that, as you see with the businesses that we have, we've got 12 lines of businesses. But the good and bad news is that when we first started in 1974, we only know one business, which is the quarry business, and that's all we knew. We didn't know the hotel business, neither did we know the other 11 lines of businesses. So that's the last 40 years. In moving forward, we need to look at new businesses that we need to get into as well. So I think today the sharing here that we're here is not to pitch to you how great we are, how big we are, how monstrosity we are, how much money we got. That's not it. I think why we are here and why we support Zureli and a lot of the startup initiatives is because we need to figure out what are the businesses we need to get into moving forward. What we've done in the last 40 years does not mean that if we continue doing what we do, we will do well the next 40. The market's being disrupted so quickly. Asset ownership has changed. People no longer need to buy so many homes. The whole ecosystem has really changed. Ownership is not such a big thing anymore. A lot of us lease. We've been leasing cars for years. New businesses that come in now are leasing suits. You're leasing dresses, leasing things. You don't really want to own anymore. So the whole dynamics have changed. So as we venture also moving forward, we need to look at how do we future-proof ourselves, and the only way to do that is always moving with the people who are moving first in the market. So Zureli is one of those groups who are moving first. So hopefully, as we share today, it's not to say use our services with us. Please be one of suppliers. I think more than that is if you've got tech that you want to play with on the ground, if you want tech that you want to implement on the ground, you've got technology that you want to try in a space. We've got thousands of acres of things that you can play with. We've got 4 cities that we're working with. We've got so many integrated developments in all across sectors. Just spread your thought process a little bit further. Don't look at us as only a supplier or as a demand channel. Look at us as what products can you roll out with us. If you can just help me with that. I know I probably got about 8 minutes left only, right? So I'm going to run through 90 slides in 8 minutes. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do that very quickly. So this 1974. We started 1974. Can we make sure okay, so now we are obviously 2018, approaching 2019. The only building that's not constructed is that one. Everything else is there. So in this ecosystem here, we've got big issues. And we've got big issues with energy usage. We've got big issues with water usage as well. So those are the challenges that we have. But imagine this space that we are in, this city we're in is 800 acres, right? But the space that we have here is actually 1,800 acres. And the complicating factor is that this is all mining pool land. So this is what it was before, right? And this is what it is now. The space that we have here, we've got rivers, we've got waterway, we've got the sea. So that's where the complicating factor. And fortunately and not is that every place we go to, we have ecological challenges. Every place that we work in, we've got ecological challenges. So I don't know whether it's a blessing or not, but it happens always that way. So in the central, what we do now is we position the space as a holiday destination. Same thing with all the other cities. You've got to position that way because people are about instant gratification. It's all about now, right? I can't come to you and say, would you like to buy a condo? Would you like to buy a property? You wouldn't want to think even buying anything from us unless you are fully integrated into the ecosystem and you see business opportunities here. So we're hoping that when you're here, you don't only see business opportunities in Sunway Iskandar, where we are. You see business opportunities and using us as a conduit to roll out into Malaysia and the whole group as well. Right. So this is how we're promoting Sunway City, or we used to call it Sunway PJ. We sell the entertainment space. We sell the hotel rooms. How many hotel rooms we've got? How much square feet of mall that we have, and obviously after that, population will come. So we don't focus. We are no longer a developer by DNA and such. We are ecosystem and population builders. So in order to build population, you've got to have enough components there that people will ultimately want to come and live, not try and push residential sales and hopefully you'll move in and then you find out, hey, there's no supermarket here, there's nothing here in the ecosystem. It wouldn't sustain. So we park a lot of our assets in the REITs, and the reason we park it in the REITs is so that we own most of the assets in each of the ecosystem, so that we have control over the space and the maintenance and all those kind of issues. I mean, Sunway City, in PJ, we own a substantial amount of the assets, so we don't depend on the local authorities to drive new initiatives. Right? We do it ourselves. All these components here, the construction and that, is just to show you, I guess, the opportunities that we can have looking at rolling out the products that you may have. So some of you would have great ideas, initiatives. We go into medical equipment as well. Medical is something that we're rolling out quite aggressively. Two components, education and healthcare, is something that we're rolling out very, very aggressively. So all the malls, I think we're very, very familiar with that. Think of these malls as spaces that you can go work in. We are signing one deal with a top 20 market cap company in the world right now. They wanted commercial space. We brought them into a retail mall. Right. We brought them a retail mall, taking about 30,000 square feet. Reason is because they needed to build content, and they wanted people to try their products. And the products they're looking at is human beings as products. It's not products you sell as a phone. They want human talent. So we said, well, don't be in a commercial building, be in a mall. That's where you want to be. And you want to be near where the youth are, so as to try the next generation products that they're trying to try it out. Penang, we are there as well. So these are some of the things that's coming up. Think of these spaces as integration of your ideas into the ecosystem before it's there. It's greenfield. Don't go into brownfield. It gets a lot challenging when it's brownfield. So these are all greenfield. Ipoh, we've got 1,300 acres. It's actually the largest land holding that we have. 50% of the land cannot be developed. But imagine all these waterways are ecological systems that we've got to manage as well. Obviously, theme parks, we've been there, Bajaran Hot Springs. All these are places where we have a playground for us to test new technology. We're all about savings, but at the same time, is what's the impact on the environment as well. So the place where we are right now, we are 5 kilometers to Singapore via the new highway, so about 10 minutes. I often go to Singapore, the Jurong side, door to door is 30 minutes if there's no traffic jam. This is where we are. That's a river that we have, 7-kilometer river, seafront. So that's the ecological system that we want. So the view from level 37, you could have a look at that later on, facing into JB, and that's Singapore. So that's a river ecosystem there. The largest co-working space is just about there. So what's important for us? This is Amazon, right? South America. This is Iskandar. This is really pictures taken by one of our team members, right? This is the challenge we've got to work around. This is it right now as of April. So this is what we're working with. So this is where we are right now at this space there. So we're very close to the river. You just can't see the river, right? That's the sea there, and that's Singapore. Right? So this is the space that we're building. We've got the theme park coming up there, a bit of residential there. The education and healthcare hub is all coming up there. Right? That's the space we are. We're just about that space there. And that's the river. That's the land that we have freehold here, and that's Medini land. Right? So let your imagination run wild in terms of what you can do in an ecosystem. This is real photos of the space that we're in. The flora and the fauna is there. We have to plant all the trees back because unfortunately when we bought the land, a lot of the trees were chopped down. So now we're going to replant it. Current components that we're in, so that's the space we're in. We've got commercial space there. We've got the Jaya Grocer that's doing amazingly well. School. Upcoming components that we have, we've got the X Park, the big box coming up as well. So that's where we are, Jaya Grocer International School. As you come in, you probably came in through this road here. This is the big box. There's a hotel coming up there. That will be completed about a year and a half. This big box will be completed by end of next year, larger than JPO. If you turn around this road here, that's where you go to Singapore. So if you go back down, turn left, you're into Singapore. That's how close we are. So residential, I won't touch too much about that. That's where we are. The hotel's coming up there. And the commercial block will be coming up just at the big box area. X Park, that's where a lot of the youth are very excited. This will be ready first phase by end of this year. Again, to bring population into the ecosystem. We're the first stop from Singapore, last stop to Singapore, before Singapore, for the Causeway Link, just right in front where we are at the mall. So the challenges that we have is we've got so many assets. We've got to figure out a way of managing the energy levels. We've got to figure out a way of managing costs. We've got to figure out a way of reducing amount of energy that we use from different components. So about 2 years ago, Tan Sri subscribed to the UN Sustainable Goals, the 17 Sustainable Goals. And how we are doing that is we started looking at elevated canopy walks in Sunway City. So all these components I share with you are components that we're going to do here. But imagine all these things that we do are retrofit after we knew, my gosh, we should have had community walk, so we try and do that. Whereas in the new ecosystem here, we can do it as a green field. So we know better now, right? So we should build it better, a bit faster. We've got the security side. We've got transit BRT, so we're looking at BRT here. This electric BRT, actually it's the first in Malaysia, electric BRT. We're looking at water treatment plants, water usage. We've got our own water treatment plant. That's Tan Sri there. He's very active in two aspects of the business, actually education and innovation hub. He's very, very interested in those two areas. Ecosystem, we try and restore. We planted 30,000 trees back into the PJ area. Energy management is something to look at. Even food wastage, we don't do it for media publicity. We do it to see real impact on the ground. Smoke-free zone in Sunway City. So by 2020, whole of Sunway City, if you smoke there, you'll get fined. We are thinking about implementing here, so we're not sure yet how the market will react. But Sunway City, we are actually removing tenants, clubs and pubs that has excessive smoking in those premises. We're actually asking them to leave the city. We have to do that. It's also a maintenance issue, right? You've got cigarette butts on the ground, clay bricks. You can't remove it. It just stains permanently. Wi-Fi, we want to Wi-Fi the whole place. 40,000 students in the city, in Sunway City in Monash there. We're going to do the same thing here. The land here is 2.5 times more, imagine. So the education part is something going to be serious for us. We've done collaborations with Cambridge, Harvard and Oxford, not just by name, but we're doing R&D. 1 minute? Okay, 1 minute. Sorry? Less than that. Okay. Healthcare, innovation. So I want to touch on this one here. We started this innovation hub called iLabs about May last year. We took up 6,000 square feet to incubate businesses and opportunities where it could actually help the 12 lines of businesses or leading it to another realm. Now it's going to be expanded to 15,000 square feet in the central side. We put aside $50 million to invest into small businesses to look at new tech. The latest thing is by next month or the month after, we'll also be setting up the Johor branch as well, and then trying to roll out into Penang and the various ecosystems. So you're actually the first to know about that, right? So we're going to roll out product next month into the ecosystem. We created, we invited this co-working space operator here is because in where our gallery is, this view facing the Singapore side, that's Singapore there, amazing views, it's just about 2 minutes away, incubation space for SMEs in Johor. Right? I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Fantastic presentation. And I think Dr. Jared has the record for PowerPoint. Okay, the next speaker today is Mr. Ernest Navaratnam, who is the Group Chief Executive Officer of Synergy SEA Sendirian Berhad. Ernest has been involved in the power generation industry since 1995. And by the way, Synergy is a Malaysian and Southeast Asian clean energy developer and investor in several key verticals such as biomass, biogas, energy efficiency, solar, and mini hydro projects. Today, Ernest will be sharing on energy efficiency, amongst other things. Please welcome Ernest. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Tough act to follow, but thank you very much for inviting us to present to you what Synergy is all about. So thanks again to the Zureli and the Sunway Iskandar to organize this event, and it's the first time we are participating in the Green Talks. So as mentioned, Synergy is actually really wants to move the sustainability and the green agenda across Southeast Asia. We are focusing in Malaysia first, and then slowly going abroad across Southeast Asia. Two different businesses. One is generating of renewable energy. We invest and operate concessions that actually can reduce carbon footprint, be it biomass, hydro, solar, wind, if possible, in Malaysia and things like that. But the other element where I want to focus today's discussion is what we call energy efficiency. So 2 weeks back, the Minister of, the long name, but short form MESTEC, So basically, she made a statement to that energy efficiency, if we can actually focus on reducing what is called energy waste, it's actually a 46 billion ringgit reduction for the cost for all the operators over the next 10 years. So 46 billion ringgit from a point of view of reduction of cost is actually 46 billion ringgit of value for us to implement together. And very important for us is that Synergy looks at providing commercially viable solutions. So the concept that renewable energy or energy efficiency is expensive, actually it's not. It's actually now viable. And Synergy proves it by actually investing into it. So the idea here is that we can help bring solutions that can reduce your carbon footprint over a concession period under what is called the energy performance contracting mechanism. We invest, we operate the facility for 8 to 10 years and hand it over to the client after that. So, but the equipment, everything is actually not Synergy's. We buy it from the market. So the idea here is to match suppliers that are in looking at trying to bring green energy to the customers. We try to match the two by providing the financing to support it. So why energy efficiency? Basically, it's actually for all the hotel operators, reducing your cost. At the same time, you become greener and your customers love you in that sense. So again, Malaysia is growing in terms of energy demand. Recently, the minister has now cancelled a few IPPs that are supposed to be on the cards, which means then we need to rely more on all of us as consumers, how to actually use energy, and not just electricity, but also steam, other forms of heat and other forms of energy, how we can use it more effectively. So you look at a hotel, what kind of energy uses that you actually have, not just electricity bill, but potentially the heat and steam requirements that you have also. So it's growing, and this is energy generation is growing. But from all of your point of view, is look at it from a cost perspective, right? Electricity tariffs over the next 10 years will increase. So it's going to hit your bottom line, basically. So, sorry, there's a picture missing. But anyway, what are the challenges for hotels? For those that are relatively not new, aging infrastructure, aging infrastructure, you got very tight budgets to manage. As mentioned earlier, there's a very, what Tim mentioned, it's a competitive industry right now in the hotel industry for Malaysia and also Southeast Asia. So you got very, very tight budgets to manage. Your marketing budget is very important. So you got to manage how you actually try to reduce your budget on the utility side. Maintaining guest comfort. So the important customer is always the repeat customer. So always giving the customer the comfort so that his recommendation will actually bring more guests to you. And then now more and more so is complying with green standards, being more visible, being more to show the customers that you actually are reducing your carbon footprint and they can enjoy it. So the idea here is being more visible to them that the hotel is actually looking at trying to see how they can save Mother Earth, basically. So why Synergy? Well, I guess I wouldn't call ourselves experts. Basically, we match how to provide financing to deploy technology into your premises. Okay, it's a very simple concept. If the idea here is that should you have the capability, the affordability to do any one of these items, please do it yourself, right? But should finance be the constraint why you cannot implement LED lightings or cogeneration or rooftop solars, then go and talk to companies like Synergy, there are others around the place, to actually implement it for you. So we will provide the CapEx upfront. So there's no CapEx for you unless you want to join us in the investment. We will provide the OpEx during the maintenance period of the equipment that we install. And all we share with you is the savings that you achieve from your electricity bill or from your energy bill. That's the business concept. And over a period of time, like say 10 years, we hand it over back to you, lock, stock, and barrel. So then you get to enjoy everything subsequent to that. So typically, this like kind of stuff that you can actually install. One exciting thing that we are looking at the moment is the next presenter is going to present from Sensing what we are looking at to be something called managing your internal environment, how you can actually monitor it from a second-to-second basis, and then how we can actually reduce energy based on where energy is actually required and where energy is not required. But I'll leave that to the Prof. Shekhar to do that. Our experience to date, we guarantee the customer there's a 30% saving. Okay, so look, we have to do an audit. We have to understand your building consumption, your seasonal patterns and all that. But so far in our four contracts that we've actually implemented right now, we're actually out-delivering the 30%. So you can just imagine your bottom line on cost of energy. This is like what we can do for you. Or you can do it yourself. Again, if you are, remember, if you have the financial strength to do it yourself, please do it. It's very important to the environment. It's important to your cost also. But should you not be able to do it and you just need some financing support, Synergy will provide it for you. So pretty well similar. So just to run through with you what we do. If you're interested, we come and do an audit at your premises. So basically the first one is actually what we call a walkthrough audit, just to understand your building, understand your premises, understand the consumption pattern, the seasonal pattern of consumption. You know, if your hotels means your room occupancy over time, high periods and low periods. Look at your electricity bill. Look at your other energy bills. So that's what we call a walkthrough, to actually understand the energy patterns in your building and what are the major consumption equipment that is actually taking up. How old is it? If it's 1 year old, then pretty well, it's pretty good. But if it's 5 years old, 10 years old, the new equipment coming on the market can actually be more efficient. By more efficient, we mean using less electricity or less other energy forms. What's now coming into the market is this. I'm not sure you're familiar with this, the launch of this net energy metering scheme. It's been there in the market for a few years, but Minister just announced a tweak that makes it a lot more attractive. So basically, it means that you put solar on your premises, specifically your roofs, you can actually export when you're not using internally. Your first priority is use it internally, but if there's surplus at different times of the day, or maybe a Sunday or public holiday, you can export it to the grid, and Tenaga has to pay you back the same price that you buy from Tenaga. So it's actually quite an attractive proposition right now for the hotels, but also for the property developers. So if I can get a chance to Dr. Gerard after this, I'm able to give him another pitch on property. So what we do with planning, then from the planning, we actually do the analysis. What is the payback? What can be changed? Now, very important is the equipment. And remember, our model is to transfer across the equipment at the end of the concession. So upfront, when we buy equipment, we buy it with you. We don't have any equipment in our portfolio. So for example, air conditioning, there's a Daikin here, but there are a few other suppliers. You know, we can go out in the market and buy it together with you. The procurement policy is respected. Okay, so we have got no favorites, but we jointly work with you to specify the right equipment for your hotel. You know, because certain hotels got certain branding, certain level of specification, certain level of quality that needs to be there. We work with you on that. Okay. Then from there, trying to calculate what is the payback, what's the investment payback purely from the electrical savings that you pay to the utility company. So that's how we get paid back. And then the third phase is the operational phase, where we take responsibility for the cost of the operation also. Any equipment under our ownership during the period, we actually maintain it. So it's not just a savings on your capex, but it's also a savings on your opex too. And then, as I mentioned, at the end of the year, at the end of the concession, we hand it over to you. So these are live pictures over the weekend, what we are installing in a university outside of Kuala Lumpur right now. So we're just replacing a whole bunch of chillers that they have. They've I think, a total of 34 chillers in the university is being replaced at the moment. So this is the latest one that's been changing last weekend. Okay, we are saving the university 200,000 ringgit a month right now And can you imagine the university where they, how much they appreciate because their budget is being cut down by the government, things like that. So I mentioned earlier, the rooftop solar, the NEMS program. So here we have a partnership with a Singapore company called Sunseap. They are probably the largest solar operator in Singapore. We are partnering with them under this company called Synergy Sunseap. And the idea here is to actually use solar on the roof to meet your internal demands, and where it's excess, we'll sell it off to the grid. So under our financing capability, and we share the energy savings with you again. So at the end of the day, renewable energy and energy efficiency can work together. Depending on the locations, we can actually provide you biogas also to provide as a replacement to diesel or other forms of fuel that you use in your premises. So if you are off grid in terms of island operations, we love you because at the moment you'll probably be relying on diesel. We can come and give you some solutions to actually make yourself greener, but without a cost for you. So we see EE and solar as hand-to-hand solutions to provide to customers like yourselves. Yep, this is all the solutions we can provide you, and then also with that, we can actually try to help you get your relevant green marks certification as a building owner or a hotel operator. So basically, in summary, this is the slide that I'd like you guys to focus on, in the sense that what guests for hotels want, what hotel operators are looking for, and what Synergy can provide for you. Okay? Later can get, I'll entertain questions and answers later. So please find me or my colleague Raihan to ask anything that you need to know about us. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ernest. So I think one person or one organization you need to get their business card is definitely Synergy, right? It's really good what they're doing. Okay. So following on from Ernest, we have Dr. Sekar Kondipudi, who is the founder of Sensing, an IoT solution startup focused on built environment, and it's a spin-off from NUS in Singapore, where he is also the associate professor of smart buildings, smart cities, and IoT. He has 30+ years of global business and product experience in a variety of technology verticals related to the built environment. Today, he will be sharing on the application of the latest IoT and sensor technology to hotels to improve energy efficiency and guest experience. Please join me to welcome Professor Sekar.
Thank you, Sharon. I'd like to really thank Sharon and Zarelli for this opportunity. And Mr. Worthington and Sharon's been a pleasure to work with, and she's been extremely responsive and very, very helpful. Just met her a couple of weeks ago at a show in KL, and it just turned out really well. So we really appreciate the opportunity to be here. What I'd like to get to is what we're about. And this technology, the solution, which is not only IoT hardware, but we're also software, visualization, and analytics. So we call ourselves an IoT solutions company. This spun off from a bunch of research that was done at NUS, National University of Singapore, where I'm a professor. And we've been around for about a year, but the research has been a couple of years prior to that. So it's very solid technology. We have about 4 to 5 installations in Singapore, Malaysia, as well as India already. We have somewhere around 200 to 300,000 square feet under operation. We're generating 2 to 3 million points of data a day. Okay, so we're drowning, well, we're swimming in data, and hopefully we'll drown in data in the sense that we'll have a lot of data. So our tagline is to create more efficient indoor spaces. So it's not just about energy, it's about comfort, it's about value proposition to whoever the occupants of the building are, right? I've got that. So I know today's talk was a little bit, is generally focused towards hotel. To Dr. Jared, though, I'd love to have a conversation with you because you've I just looked at your presentation and I'm like, wow. I used to work for Cisco and a bunch of other companies, and they're all technology companies, and I look at the breadth and the spread of Sunway. It's very, very impressive. So a lot of what I'm talking about is applicable not only to hotels, but anything which has a roof over its head. But the most important person in a hotel is the guest. Whatever you do, if the guest is unhappy, you will not get the repeat guest. And that's what you want, right? So why do they leave unhappy? It's either too hot or too cold. I can point you to an article where hotels in the US are actually shutting down the air conditioning in the middle of the night to save energy. And hotel guests are waking up with a sweat. And then by the morning, the air conditioning is back on, and nobody knows what happened, and the thermostats are dummy. They don't really work. So it's kind of an interesting play. How do you balance energy efficiency with comfort? And that's really something we have to look at. Noise. How many times have you as hotel owners had a guest call up and saying, the guy next door to me or down the street's having a loud party and I'm trying to sleep because I got a business meeting the next morning? Air quality. It's smelly or it doesn't seem right. Of course, maintenance is important. And then finally, definitely service. So let's make them happy. Let's figure out what it's going to take. So I'm going to switch gears on you a little bit, and let's talk about energy. Hotels use anywhere between 250 to 300 kilowatt hours per square meter per year. And that, in Singapore at least, is over $1 million just for 10 to 15,000 square meters of area, which is not very big, right? Lighting load, air conditioning. These are the big loads that you look at. Hotel occupancy. Most hotels run at 60 to 70% occupancy. I'm not in the hotel business, but I would suspect if you're a 75 or 80%, you would be pretty happy. But what about those 30 to 40% which is not being used? Are the hotels being air conditioned? Are the rooms being air conditioned? Are the lights being left on? How about all those hotel guests who take 2 card keys from you and leave 1 card key permanently in the slot and leave the room because when you take the card key out, the air conditioning and the power shuts off, right? We all know that. How many hotel guests do that? Do you know? I don't think any of us know. Sensing will tell you, all right? There's also other facilities and, of course, maintenance, because now if they're not occupied, you still have to maintain them. Comfort and well-being. 100% of guests are looking for a healthy and a peaceful rest. That's why they come to a hotel. They want rest, they want to enjoy, like Dr. Jared said, if it's a resort, they want to come in, have fun, but they always want to have a good night's rest. 75% of hotel guests complain that the thermostat is not working. Air quality is an important differentiating factor, and about 20 to 25% of hotel guests complain about noise. So these are things that we got to look at. And whatever it is, your goal is to make them happy. So they have to be really comfortable. And that's going to be, the next question is, what is the differentiating factor that you as a hotelier can offer compared to the hotel down the street? Because it's repeat business, which is going to bring the same, what you want is the hotel guest to come back and tell his or her friends, you know, that was just a fantastic experience, right? How good do you feel when you're in a restaurant and the server or the attendant is so good at their service? You remember that and you always go back to the restaurant. So things are changing. The Internet of Things, and we all hear about IoT and big data, it's hitting the hotel industry in a big way. The simplest example all of us probably are aware of is that your smartphone is your new hotel key. All the large hotel chains, whether it's Marriott, whether it's Hilton, whether it's Hyatt, all have an app. And you can just basically walk up to your room and open the door. That means you can skip reception and go straight to your room. But that is your new room key. So that's just an indication of where the technology is headed. But if you can't measure what's happening, you cannot improve it. Energy savings, comfort, well-being, occupancy, these are the pivots of sensing. As I said, this is sort of geared to hotels, but it applies to anything with a roof over its head. Office buildings, it applies to schools, to universities, etc. So what we do is we have real-time monitoring sensors, we collect visualized data, we have data analytics and an actionable control across a variety of products. Some products we have built ourselves, some we're taking from partners in order to effectuate a total solution. we're very clear in our mandate. We will not build something which already exists. It doesn't make sense. Whatever we've built ourselves and designed ourselves is stuff that we haven't found out in the marketplace. So we measure all these key environmental factors within any given space: power, volatile organic compounds, CO2, PM2.5, which is, of course, always now it's actually people are asking for PM1, right? Energy, noise, light, temperature, humidity. So this is an example of a dashboard. We'll be happy to, I'll do a live demo in a little bit of an installation that we have. But this is a dashboard of a building where you find all the parameters I mentioned live coming out of data, as well as energy load. And of course, this is the outside weather. We can then give you individual temperatures. Now, this is an office space, but think of this as individual rooms. We're able to provide you real-time visualization. Now, wanted to know if the hotel guest is in or not, you know if the air conditioning is on or not. I can tell you right away. And then I can even tell you the heat maps. I can tell you some air conditioners not working for some reason. I can tell you if people are in their rooms or not. Now, you can correlate this data with this data, and you can figure out whether Prof. Kondapudi was devious enough to leave his card key in the slot and left the room. The air conditioner is running, but he's not in his room. So is there a way that as long as he's not there, does it matter if the temperature goes back up to 27 instead of 24? He doesn't know. He doesn't care. As soon as he walks in, he wants it back at 24. Okay? So this is a way that we can do this. So the way we work it is just, and thank you so much, Ernest, for the plug for us. But we're working with Synergy. The idea is, as part of their audit, part of their system that they go in to establish a baseline, we provide hard quantitative data, numbers. Remember, data doesn't lie. There's an old saying, in God we trust, all others bring data. Okay? So we've got hard data, real-time data collection monitoring, and we can measure all of these parameters and more. If you have a requirement which asks us to measure something, and if it makes sense, we will build it for you. Not an issue. We do multi-stage deep dive analysis. We do impact analysis and come up with control strategies to look at the before and after impact as well. And the economic viability, the return on investment. So what we do is we do a site survey which involves sensors. We do the calibration. We do the installation commissioning. We have cloud-based software. For us, everything runs on Amazon, and you got instant data. Just to give you a perception of how fast this is done, we can do, for example, a floor of a hotel of, let's say, 50 rooms, probably in less than a day of installation. Retrofit, new, doesn't matter. It's all fine. And by the end of the day, you will have data up and running instantly. You wouldn't be surprised the number of times our customers have said, what, you just installed this morning, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're up and running, and you have data coming in. We do the visualization. We have a dashboard. We do floor map views. We have trending analytics. We have alarms and alerts, data analytics reports, and then a list of devices to help look at control. So our primary product is AirSense. This is being redesigned. We'll be happy to share with you some of our new designs that we're coming up with, which are more aesthetically pleasing. But it's an integrated module. It's a single module, which is right now 6 centimeter cube. It's very, very small. We've got a unit out there if you'd like to look at it. Temperature, humidity, light, noise, volatile organic compounds, and carbon dioxide. Why is carbon dioxide important? Carbon dioxide, anything, if CO2 levels are more than 1,200 to 1,400, cognitive brain function slows down. So any of you have hotels who have meeting rooms and meetings going on, if the CO2 levels start to drop, how many times have we gone into a meeting room and felt sleepy because there's 20 people in the room? It's because the CO2 levels are too high. And that's not a good thing. So people come back feeling tired. You know, I spent this time in Hotel X and I don't know, I was just feeling tired. And believe me, if you have central air conditioning, fresh air comes in. If you have split units, fresh air doesn't come in, and that can be an issue. All right? We have OcuSense, which actually tells you about occupancy in the room. Yeah, it's a motion sensor, it's an occupant, but it is tied to AirSense. And so you actually get real-time correlation of somebody being there, and there's a relationship to temperature. We have LightSense, so we have the ability to have smart light switches. We've got this is a third-party product, and it's fully certified. It just replaces the light switch on your wall, but it is fully controllable. So you, as a hotel operator, can sit wherever you'd like in your hotel and say, oh, room 1101, Prof. Kandupudi, he's not there, and his lights are on. Well, blink, the lights are off now, over Wi-Fi. By the way, this whole system runs on Wi-Fi, so there is no additional infrastructure for you. You already have a Wi-Fi system in your hotels. All of you do, and the amount of data bandwidth we use is minuscule. We also have PowerSense, if you want to measure appliances, which is basically smart plugs. So our outcomes are really the real-time state of the hotel, gives you insights. You can correlate events. You can do spatial occupancy analysis. You can figure out how many times your meetings will be used, how many people are coming to your meetings, what is the occupancy rate. Hybrid strategies you can control, and finally improve comfort and productivity. The idea is cost savings, of course, and the quality of life at the hotel. And by the way, all of these things apply to your employees as well, to your staff as well. What I'm going to do briefly, show you a live demo. If you bear with us, this is live data, so we are dependent a little bit on our hotspot. Okay, so this is live data, as you're seeing from this particular building. And this is, and so if you go to maps, okay, that's all right. So this is a heat map of temperature. You can click on humidity. Click on humidity and you'll see it move. Clicked on CO2, you'll see the CO2 values. If you go to sensor map, on the left top next to heat map, no, down. Yeah, click that and you'll see individual values. And you can see here it's starting to flash because the CO2 levels are very high. So you'll start to actually see live data. And this is live data, guys. And if you go to spatial, and I'm not going to show you all the maps, but this is people at their desks or not. So this is the same way of people being at their rooms or not. We can figure this out, right? And if you notice, it says occupied and not occupied, and we can do it when you come out to our, okay, just changed. The number just changed, 74 to 73. So this will be real time as it's moving. If you go back, and there's a lot of data here, and analytics. If you go back to spatial, go to current. Yeah. So go to temporal, next to group down, down, temporal, okay. And today's October 30th. Select yesterday, 29th of October. Okay, hit show. And I think this is just a little slow, but okay, hit play now. Okay, and watch it rip. So this is from midnight, and as it's going to go through, you will start to see people coming in and out, and the colors will change. This is live data from yesterday, October 29th. So now you can see the motion of people coming in and out of your room and this is happening every minute. You don't even have to do it so this is live data. This is the power of the internet, the power of IoT and data. I think you can pause this. I'll stop here. We've got zones, we got rooms, so we can do floors, we can do subzones, you can do meeting room zones, we can do whatever you'd like in your hotel. All of this is customized to you. All we need is a floor map from you, and we'll produce everything else after that. And normally we just ask for less than 30 days for us to be able to implement the entire solution. Less than 30 days from the word go. Be able to get product in, install it, and get you up and running. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, please feel free to talk to us. This is my colleague Irvin, myself, our CEO Anu, and of course our partners Synergy, whom we're very, very happy to sort of engage with jointly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof, for a very cutting-edge presentation, very practical as well. So our next speaker is Cheryl Fu, who is the business development, in charge of business development for Asia Pacific for Zero Mass Water. and she will be sharing on the applications of source hydro panels for sustainability-driven properties. Please join me to welcome Cheryl.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity today. It's really exciting to actually cross the border. So we're from Singapore, and what Dr. Koh said is right. It's literally 30 minutes door to door. So we're very excited to be in Skanda today. So I'm actually from Zero Mass Water. We're an American company that produces drinking water just from sunlight and air. This is a recent installation we completed in Bali, in Indonesia, at a resort. So today I'll be sharing a little bit more about how Source can actually contribute to your sustainability goals. Sorry. So essentially what Zero Mass Water aims to do is to perfect drinking water. A lot of our current water sources at the moment are very unreliable and very unsustainable. So Asia Pacific is actually one of the regions in the world that is the most water stressed, which means we're actually running out of our local water tables. Our aquifers are drying up. So there must be another source of water we can tap on. So we decided to tap on the air. Can you please show the YouTube link, please? So I just wanted to share a quick video of Source and how it works and some of the applications around the world. We're actually in the Middle East, in Africa, in Latin America, in the Americas, North America, and now we're in Asia Pacific as well. Have a multitude of applications here. The last video was actually with the Asian Development Bank in Manila. We work closely with the ADB for disaster relief and crisis rehabilitation because they require a water source immediately upon deployment. So again, water independence. There is no need for any electrical or water source. So we're really looking at complete off-grid and water security. So there is complete water independence. There is a case of bottled water generated per day from just 2 panels alone. So some of the reasons why Source is able to provide reliable and sustainable drinking water supply is because for customers, you're really going to get a great tasting, reliable source of water. There is also sustainability ownership and water ownership. And furthermore, for developers, what you're really looking at is water security. Water security is really important because if you are dependent upon municipal water supply or plastic bottled water delivery, if there are changes in the supply chain, it's going to affect your delivery of the experience to the end user. Water ownership is also really important because you have direct access to the water supply without, again, any intermediators. We're also talking about cost savings. One panel actually pays back within 3 years. Sustainability goals and premiumization and market leadership. So a little bit more about why hospitality in general. So hotels and resorts actually generate a tremendous amount of plastic waste each year. So we know that, for example, the hospitality sector is responsible for about 1/3 of the plastic waste generated in major industries. And 1.5 million barrels of oil are actually used to produce plastic bottled water. That's enough to power 100,000 cars in 1 year. So a lot of hotels and property management firms have actually realized this, and we work very closely with, for example, Ayala Group in the Philippines, as they have carbon neutral initiatives by 2020. So that's something we're hoping to bring to other parts of Southeast Asia as well, and to partner with them to provide stable drinking water. Now, why do we talk about water security? Because Source is completely off-grid and solar-powered. The property that Source is installed at is actually able to continue to maintain a potable water supply, even during sudden power outages and disruptions, such as in the case of natural disasters. Further, as Source is immediately producing water on-site for the immediate use of the property, water delivery is no longer a concern on operating cost. Why cost savings? Because Source provides affordable clean drinking water, which is at 10 cents per liter, compared to the current bottled water supply, which is 45 cents per liter. A more detailed cost analysis obviously is dependent on the property. In terms of sustainability goals, again, no need for any electricity or infrastructure. Just install, plug and play without a plugging. And with this, then you have no stress on the fragile ecosystems or local water tables. So if you're looking at development for integrated resorts, you can install a source field of 100 or 200 panels, which is something we've done for the Cape Town government due to their water insecurity. And that is going to meet, the needs of about 500,000 people every year. Most importantly, I would like to highlight about premiumization. So as a couple of previous speakers before me has already addressed, there is a growing trend towards the premium and luxury eco-travel segment. At the same time, we're really looking at about $3 billion as of 2017, with a high CAGR of 7 to 8%. So in order to tap on this market, there is a growing eco-consciousness for sustainable travel sector, especially in APAC. So for example, Booking.com revealed that 68% of 100,000 respondents in the APAC region said they would be more likely to choose accommodations if they knew they were eco-friendly, including energy and water. So therefore, in order to capture the premium and luxury segment, sustainability efforts by the property need to be communicated effectively to the end user for the entire customer journey. And in order to do this, you really want to emphasize your brand experience. You can't have, really high-end private island luxury resort, and then you give them Dasani bottled water, right? We're really talking about curating the entire experience for the guest. And you can only do that if you make salient your eco-travel or your sustainability efforts. And by having the panels installed right at your resort, you're going to have that direct one-on-one experience that is so important to managing the impression of the guest. So some of the examples of resorts we have done actually in Australia. We have got an array in Western Australia for an off-grid property. So they have actually eliminated the entire reliance of bottled water. They no longer need that because one panel, you install it, the payback is 3 years, and it lasts for 15 to 20 years. Again, in some private islands, in tropical humid climates, the Alberhos Islands, for example, Western Australia, there is a very strong drive for sustainability at the property, and because of that, they've got this solar panel and also source array to provide both energy and drinking water. So they're completely off-grid. They do not need to rely at all on the grid. Lady Elliot Island is another favorite of ours. With 8 hydro panels, they really push for this off-grid and sustainable property. It allows them to, again, not rely on plastic bottled water or the municipal water. So some of the clear value propositions for Source, just really quickly, is built for skill. You can have 1 panel in your rooftop, or you can have 200 panels in ground mount in a field somewhere. So for example, we're in talks with some of the biggest luxury hotels in the region at the moment who specialize in private airlines that have got hectares upon hectares of space, and we look at actually creating source arrays and then bottling the water and also selling it. That's another business channel because they completely own the water. Another way you can do that to improve your business case also is there's a smart economic choice. Again, depending on the cost of the water, the payback period is between 3 to 5 years, and it lasts for 15 to 20 years. Also saves carbon dioxide and plastic waste. We're looking at offsetting 109,500 plastic bottles, which is a lot. In the region at the moment, ocean waste is a huge problem for Bali, for Australia. A lot of the Thai resorts as well face this problem. So we hope to work towards some of the impact-driven projects in that regard. Interesting also, Source is very much an IoT technology. So 24/7, all of the data about the humidity levels and the solar irradiance is constantly being fed to our network operations center in the USA. So that means that we know at any one point in time of our thousands of panels deployed worldwide, what is happening with that SZ1 panel in Johor. We know exactly what is happening. Is there any issue with the ozonator? So we're really looking at maximizing uptime and efficiency. So there is no worry about operations and maintenance at all, because we know everything that's going on with the panel, as is most technology these days, and quite creepy, to be honest. But let's look also about our footprint around the globe, right? We have been on every single continent, in about 16 countries, in Vanuatu as well, and also really about making water in diverse climates. There are only two inputs that you need for the source panel. It's just sunlight and humidity. So as long as you've got exposure and you're outdoor, you're able to produce clean drinking water. We have tested it from a desert, so our headquarters is actually in Arizona, which is very dry. And in Arizona, we are still able to produce 10 liters of water a day for just one panel. So some of the applications of Source, just really quickly, is really very diverse. As long as you've got a property, and you need a clean drinking water supply, we can provide that. Sir, can I please ask the nice gentleman at the back to please also play this link. So I just wanted to share with you that we're not just a business, we are also very impact driven. There is a recent project we just completed in Vanuatu with the Asian Development Bank, and the Asian Development Bank wanted to build back better because the country was devastated by a cyclone in the past year, and because of that, hundreds and hundreds of school children in a particular province was not able to receive clean drinking water. Rainwater catchment doesn't work because any water source on the island is contaminated by sulfur dust. So I just wanted to share this quick video we put together. At the moment, are there any questions about Source from anyone? No? Yeah, I get it. It's been a long day. Long morning. We woke up at like 5 a.m. Took a car. Yeah. So the water is completely pure. We have tested it even with a diesel generator in the same room. Only water is attracted to the hygroscopic material. So you can have polluted as Jakarta or Manila, and the water still tests pure. That means zero contaminants. So the first level, obviously, is that only water molecules are attracted to the hygroscopic material, which is then absorbed and condensed into drinking water. The second level of security you have is the ozonator. So there's constant sterilization 24/7. The third thing also is that you get a water filter at the end as well. So it's kind of overkill, but we're very serious about water quality. We have tested it with the ADB, with the Australian government, with every single country that we've had installations in. We have tested it with the national agencies, and they've always been great. It's always been passed. We actually haven't installed any yet in Malaysia, so if there are any interested parties, please let us know. We're very excited to do a project here. Okay. Any questions, come to me. My colleague looks after South Asia, so that's India, Pakistan, and the Maldives. I look after most of APAC, including Micronesia. We're right there, and we're very happy to share with you more about Source. And this water was actually taken from the sunlight in Singapore. I'm drinking Singapore air in a glass. So as you can tell, I was drinking just now. I'm totally fine. I haven't died. So come and say hi to me. So thank you.
Sorry about the bad internet connection, but I think if you guys want to watch the video, it's on YouTube, right? You can just search for Zero Mass Water, and then there's a few videos on YouTube. I was actually watching them. Very impressive technology, revolutionary. Anyway, moving on, we have something different. This time, I won't share too much. I'll let Dorothy enlighten all of us. So Dorothy E. is one of the founders of EcoBio Asia, part of a 3-women team, right? So we are very happy to have them here today. And she will be discussing about how hoteliers can make a difference by adopting sustainable practices and why it is important to do so. So please join me to welcome Ms. Dorothy E. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Is your hotel green? If you are energy efficient, reducing carbon footprint, utilizing renewable energy, that's wonderful. What about waste management? What about the environmental impact from your waste? I am from EcoBio Asia. We care for the communities and the environment. We are a startup company focusing on the innovation of green technology products utilizing vegetation waste. Our biggest drive to the startup of this company is the experience we are facing daily. Plastic pollution is everywhere. It's in our backyard. It's on the streets we walk on. It's flooding our landfills and eventually has seeped into the ocean, creating a big goo of pollution. We are living in a big washing machine. The rain washes away our litter, but where do you think they go? We all know about this. It's not news. We even know the 3 Rs. We also have the initiatives. We are aware, but do we continue to maintain the effort? Sadly, we are ignorant. Business providers such as hotels and restaurants providing the convenience by enabling the use of plastic is not helping. According to Ellen MacArthur Foundation, there will be more plastic than fishes in the sea by the year 2050. Can you imagine? Statistics have shown 25% of our household and commercial waste consists of sanitary towels, diapers, and plastics. How can we reduce this? So we come here today trying to make a change. We have found a solution. We are biodegradable and compostable. We replace plastic. We have innovated cutleries and crockeries made of 100% natural vegetation waste. Our products are also certified by government bodies across the globe. Our mission is to stop this enraging pollution, save the environment, say no more to plastic, and yet we are still able to enjoy the convenience plastic used to give us. Our cups, straws, bags, and packagings are made of natural vegetation waste. We use sugarcane bagasse, starches from corn, tapioca, rice, and many more other natural vegetation waste. Yes, it is edible. Yes, it is compostable. Yes, it is biodegradable. We can use them as fertilizers and animal feed as well. 2 weeks ago, we were at this iGEM. We were invited by YBO to come and talk about it. They were very, very impressed with our product, saying that how it helps establish her roadmap, that she has signed a policy where she has agreed to go for no plastic, 0 plastic by the year 2030, and how we are doing to enable her roadmap, her roadmap policy, along with Datin Badria. She is the Deputy Secretary, Energy and Green Tech. She actually came and visited our booth. Thanks to her. Some students. So, is your hotel green today? The services hotels are providing us today uses large amount of plastics. Services such as laundry service, room service, takeaways, packaging for toiletries, garbage disposals, and etc. Plastic straws, I would assume, is the largest plastic consumed daily in your establishment. So how can us as guests be green too? How can we save our planet while we are enjoying the comforts of your hotel. I've got like a little idea here. You could always market it, tell your guests that you are using biodegradable and compostable products. You are not using plastic anymore. You are making an effort saving the environment. You could always tell them it is 100% satisfied, made from natural vegetation, fiber, and starches. We can convert to a more environmental friendly means. Okay. We are not here today just to make profit. It is about the common man, the general public we are providing this solution to. It is about the families checking out green solutions to help their lives become more affordable. Going green is not really me paying the extra bucks. It's about saving extra money for my children's future. Eventually, what we want to achieve today is to provide a solution to the ordinary Malaysians and the ordinary people around the world so that our lives can be better. Everything we do here, someone else at another corner of this world can benefit from our technology and business model. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation with hopes it makes you support our green technology. Let's stop using plastic. Let's save the turtles. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Okay, so how many of you are thinking of looking further into this for your hotel or your restaurant or anyway, you should all get together, I think, put in a bulk order, get a better price. Yeah, why not? Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Tan Wei Sheng, who is an engineer with the consulting sales of Daikin Malaysia Sales and Services. And he will be sharing on application of Daikin's technology in improving operational cost efficiencies of the hospitality industry. Please join me to welcome Mr. Tan.
Okay, hi, good morning. My name is Wei Sheng. So once again, thanks really and Sunway for hosting the event. Okay, so my topic here today is how to improve the efficiency. So as per Tim mentioned just now, the occupancy rate is increasing about 6%, right? But the hotel is growing about 30%. And that is a very serious issue, especially for air conditioning as well. I will tell you why. Okay, so from the slide here, you can see that in the market, Malaysia, Johor, there's a lot of hotel brand. And the competition in between hotels is very intense, and how they stand out. Okay, first is to increase sales. And second, you need to reduce the operating cost, which here is the air conditioning operating cost. Okay, how we do that? Okay, from this picture here, did you notice anything? Did you see that not all the rooms the light is on? And then from the previous presenter from Sense, he's stating that 60 to 70% occupancy rate in hotel. So what we can say from here, even a hotel is 100% occupied, this situation will happen as well. Why? Because today I'm traveling from KL to here. I stayed in the hotel yesterday, and this morning I get out of the room, come here. No one's in the hotel. Same with the others like tourists. Maybe they will get back to the hotel maybe 4 or 5 p.m. and then the room is not occupied. So what I'm trying to say here is that the guest is not in their room all the time. And then plus with this data here, this is the Malaysian tourist arrival rate since 2015. Can you see that there's a fluctuation? And then maybe there's a peak season, all the room is occupied, and then non-peak season, maybe only 30–40% of the occupancy. So that I can tell you that the aircon of your hotel is running at part load for all of the time. Part load. So what I'm trying to say here is that you should identify your system, your air conditioning system or whatever system, what is the sweet spot, what is the running spot. Okay, so here I have the graph showing that our Daikin system, VRV system, x-axis here is the load, and then the y-axis here is the COP, the coefficient of performance. So can you see that as the load is decreasing, the efficiency is increasing. So plus with the statement I was saying just now, the hotel is running at part load for most of the time. Not even hotel, and also the commercial building like offices. And then traditionally, hotel is running using a chiller system, whereas they need a full load to be running efficiently. And then while VRV, we are running efficiently, especially at part load here. And then based on our statistic done in Thailand and Singapore, we found out that for the commercial building, the load is always about 50 to 70% all the time. It's rarely running at 100%. So with our VRV system, we can provide a better and optimum power consumption, and then at the same time, we can satisfy the comfortability of your hotel guests. Okay, so now we're talking about in the hotel room. Like the previous speaker talked about just now, the room can be too hot or too cold. And then one problem with the chiller system is that it doesn't respond quickly to the guest demand. Sometimes, let's say the guest, I want to turn down the aircon to maybe 19 or 20 degrees, but then demand cannot react quickly. So you still feel very hot, and once you feel very cold, you want to turn up to maybe 23 or 24, you still feel very cold, because the chill water system cannot react that quickly to the gas demand. But what our VRV can do is that we have this control logic, we call it VRT Smart. Okay, so let's say I have a, Okay, first, we turn on the aircon. And then the aircon will identify how much cooling required by the tenant. And then, something wrong with the slide. Sorry, can you help me to freeze it? Yeah, okay. First, we'll identify how much cooling required. Then if the cooling is not sufficient, we'll first regulate the fan speed. Then if the cooling is still not sufficient, then we'll further ask the outdoor, the compressor, to lower down the TE or the refrigerant temperature to provide more cooling. So with this VRT Smart system, we can provide optimum cooling based on the optimum power consumption. And this is our effort using the VRT Smart to further reduce the power consumption of your air conditioning. Okay, next. Our VRV here, we can couple with the AHU system. Because in the hotel industry, we require the fresh air requirement, right? And then instead of having a floor-by-floor fresh air system, we can centralize it and you couple it using our AHU system. And then we can add on a heat wheel to further saving energy. Okay, and the idea is that in your room, you will have a ventilation fan. And then the ventilation fan will just continuously take out the cold air from the room and then just dump it outside. So the idea here is you can centralize your ventilation system coupled with the heat wheel to further recover energy. And this is one of the ways to reduce the operating cost as well. Okay, talking about installation. Now I'm comparing between the chill water system and the VRV system. In the conventional way, the chill water, it involves a lot of components, like the cooling tower, water storage tank, the pump. While using a VRV system, you just require an outdoor and the indoor, just two components. And you can install it and then mobilize your VRV outdoor just using a lift. It doesn't require a crane. So in terms of maintenance, you further save out your cost. And then while eliminating all these components, pump, cooling tower, we can convert it into a usable space, like parking lot, more rooms, and then the swimming pools at the rooftop, and etc. Okay, and this is some of the example, we install the VRV system floor by floor. And then from the outside, it just looks like normal. And the aesthetic is preserved. And then one of the examples here is we convert the chiller plant room, become a user space, like a function hall, this place like here. So would you prefer your rooftop to be something like full of cooling tower, or the usable space, swimming pools, and it become a local attraction. Okay, in terms of the operation and management, here we have a control system. We call it Intelligent Touch Manager, where we can monitor every aircon. Is it open the temperature is too low or too hot? And then we can provide a scheduling function where which aircon should be turned on at which time. And then with this system, we also can couple it with another system like the CO2 sensor and fire alarm system, where we can make it like a mini building management system. Okay, and then this is one of the examples, the display of our control system. So you can see that which aircon is turned on and turned on at what temperature. And from this master controller, we can restrict what's the temperature the user can control. Okay, further idea to reduce the operation cost. So after the HVAC, the air conditioning take up the biggest bill, hot water and lighting take up the second. So here I want to introduce our hot water air conditioning system. So instead of discharging the hot air from the outdoor, we can couple it, we can use the hot energy to heat up the water and store in the water storage tank. We have a sample unit at our booth there. Feel free to have a look later on. Okay, back to the example just now using the AHU. Using our hot water system, we can couple it together to our VRV outdoor and then produce hot water for free to your hotel guests and tenants. Okay, this is one of the examples we have done in the Ipoh Palm Hotel. They are using our hot water system. And we even have some others example like Old Town White Coffee at the Ipoh there as well. Okay, and this is our mock-up unit in our office in PJ KL there. If you drop by, you can feel free to have a visit. Okay, so as a wrap-up, in the hotel room we have our indoor, and then with the new control algorithm, which is the VRT Smart, where we can provide optimum cooling with the optimum power consumption. And then others unit, and then for the indoor installation, we save up a lot of space. We can eliminate the chiller plant and then make it a user space. And then with the control system, coupled with the hot water system, make up a complete solution for your hotel. Okay, that's all for my sharing. Thank you.
Okay, we're saving the best for last. So now we have Dr. Karl Wagner, who has worked for many years in the industry and also has worked as a professor and consultant. He has received wide international exposure and reputation in green technology. And today he will be sharing with us on the way forward, better indoor air quality for hotels and resorts. So that completes the picture, right? From water to air to food. Thank you, Dr. Karl.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for a warm welcome, and thanks for inviting us for a completely different story, but at the end of the day, it's going to be similar, compatible with some of the speakers about the air that we breathe into the hotel rooms. The clicker is not yet working. Maybe have another lesson before we can get started. Here, right? So it's not working. Oh, it's not ready yet, but that's already the first slide. So I can ask you the question, how many of you are sleeping with air conditioning in the nighttime in your privacy? I close my eyes, I don't want to, just about to see. It's roughly about 50%, I would suppose. 50% of you are not sleeping with anything at all, but you will probably use the fan, the ceiling fan, the stand fan, and so whatsoever. Hotels normally are run almost 100% nowadays on air conditioning. the way I would like to present to you is a way backwards into the nature to include more natural air without being affected to the odds of natural ventilation, which actually doesn't work in many instances because the air is unpredictable. So what I'm going to show you is a magic box, as the time is running ahead. The magic box, thanks, now I have to do them. Thank you so much. The magic box for indoor air quality for rooms in hotels and resorts. Hotels and resorts are a little bit different. Healthy air is the first of 3 pillars of indoor air quality. Undoubtedly, we need to not only expel the VOCs, as Sekar has pointed out, and reduce the CO2, but also get the mosquitoes out. The second one is fresh air. Undoubtedly, fresh air is in a positive correlation with indoor quality, and I will point out only in one slide. But it is more humid. Of course, those of us who are sleeping in humidity have to live with it. And maybe some of you are the privileged ones like myself who don't suffer from humidity at all. I don't have a mold in my room because of cross ventilation. That's what I learned from Rumah Kampung, from Malaysia, basically. And the third one is, the main question is whether we can also cool buildings by bringing in fresh air. In the daytime is almost impossible, except if it rains. In the nighttime, maybe to worth the effort to look into this. I don't want to sell a concept, I just want to tell you that we want our individual thermal comfort. And again, what Sekar has pointed out, it can be a neutralization strategy between Daikin, any air condition, and the fresh air, the mixture, the blending together of these energies is the interesting thing. And just imagine the vision 2021, maybe 3 years from now, the hotel guests gets the bill, and the bill is related to the utility that he or she is using. Like Tune Hotel in the 2000s already started to bring in air conditioning. You have to pay extra for that. But nowadays could be more precise looking into these kind of figures. So I go quickly to the magic box, how it works internally. It can be windows mounted, it can be wall mounted in new upcoming developments. And the principle, as you see, is very simple. There's a rain hut that you will also see down there on the second stall on the right-hand side, where the air is drawn in instead of drawn out. Just the reverse principle of an exhaust fan. That's what you all will know. And inside, let's see what we get inside. Just briefly, 1, 2, 3 slides, and then we go to for healthy and fresh, and then we go to cooling. Let's move on. Healthy, I don't want to spend much time, I could, even though about the VOCs, mold, formaldehyde, are normally paralyzed by cross ventilation. You can have ionizers, of course, but then you have the closed up scenario. When you open up yourself, then the mold will be blocked for a while. Of course, there are some utensils like plastics, they will mold in the long run. So I do this experiment every day in my condominium in the 23rd floor in a condominium in Kuala Lumpur. And I have these experiences alongside with Greenmark and these ongoing biological studies that we do at this point in time to increase the first pillar of the indoor air quality. Okay, don't hold us up with US studies, chemical studies. Of course, in our tool we have filter. There's not something that is not blocked by mosquito filters or by other filters, and Chemfil is one of the market leaders in the world that we're collaborating with, based in Batu Gajah in Malaysia. Mosquito protection, of course, when a mosquito wants to enter, especially the Matsale blood, our blood is more prone to be detected. I have thousands of mosquitoes in the 23rd floor which are stuck in the mosquito net. Of course, we have to clean this after 2 or 3 months, otherwise there is no more suction into the room. Number 2, fresh. All what you see here is critical in enclosures when you don't have fresh air. You can still focus on computers, and that's why the children love air conditioning, because they can continue their work. But if you talk about these 7 out of 9 items scrutinized by the New York State University, you can see basic activities like sleeping, task orientation if you want to go to the hotel and work properly, initiative, getting good ideas, and so on and so on. Openness, this is suffering severely. If the CO2 level shrinks above a certain level of 800, 1,200, but the journey is ongoing. We have experiments in school in Singapore where the enclosures produce up to 4,000 ppm of CO2. So that's not, obviously is not always the best thing to do. I could show you a few applications, but I will skip the past. I will go to the present and the future, and then I will go to the cooling. This is a hotel. Many hotels have the same problem. They are enclosed. They have invisible split units or centralized, as our Daikin reference just pointed out, with HUs and chillers. After 8 hours, if you don't have fresh air, you feel rattled. My daughter, she came all the way from Germany, and she's used to always opening the window in the nighttime and hear them one say, "Papa, what's wrong with me?" I said, "Maybe the lack of fresh air. But you cannot open any window anymore here. There's no handle." I said, "Yeah, that's the problem." Okay, so there's something we can do about it. So I skipped this a little bit. Even if a hotel is freshly done, I'm not telling you which hotel is that, but in Singapore, it is certified by the Green Mark standards. It has a fresh air intake per se by the centralized chiller and AHU on the top rooftop. You can individualize the temperature, but if you want a higher temperature, like 50% of us who are sleeping without air condition, the issue is that you don't get any more ventilation. That means there's no more air coming in, and you have the same problem, exactly the same problem, like if you wouldn't have any fresh air intake. Because the blower, the ventilation in the air conditioner will only work in certain instances. Maybe the future is another kind of German measles, that we have the tool was developed long time ago as an integral strategy of the passive house approach that we are collaborating with in Darmstadt, Germany. German measles, you can see all these buildings. These are all exhaust fans, by the way. They have a tool which is windows mounted. For exhaust fans, no problem. For in-house fans, maybe that's the future. Final question, does the magic box also cool? Can we also create additional coolness with the tool? I'm not asking you this as a rhetorical question, but I show you the facts. And some people say, hey, how can we pump in hot and humid air? Yeah, of course, there is a truth to it. And then hot is not really the daytime, the mode, or minimized with CO2 sensor. So what we do is we sensor during the whole day. And if the person inside, the occupant, wants a lower temperature, okay, no problem, he gets the minimum of fresh air. But if I can stand with 27 or even 28 in the nighttime, then it's going to be a different story altogether. Okay, the humidity is inevitable. And I know we will never be able to convince 50% of you who hate humidity. But there is a scientific research in the 1920s. Humidity doesn't matter that much if the temperature is lower than 26 degrees Celsius inside, the felt temperature, including the blow that we get via the ventilation tool. That's good news for us to reduce the carbon footprint. That's actually the reason why I started all these projects, to save energy, to help people to go back to their nature with a little bit of electricity. The fan consumes 28 watt, and if you have an exhaust fan on the other side, it's double. Cool, it depends. If you go to a city like Singapore, and you see, this is from my weather app, the nighttime temperature minimum is 26. The buildings store heat, because most of them are no green buildings. That's why the temperature is too high. It will not work in Singapore. But if you have been in JB last night, it will work like in KL, probably, like in Kuala Lumpur. It's normally cooler in the nighttime. If you take the second row again for the minimum nighttime temperature in the early morning at 7 a.m. But the most blessed people are those who are outside in the outskirts. There's a place called Sung Kai, and there's a resort, Sungai Klar Resort. I've measured the temperature myself, 22, 23, sometimes 24 degrees Celsius during the not longer existing seasons that we have at this point in time. What we can learn, yes, possible, but this is exactly the borderline. When the temperature is higher than 26, you feel a little bit awkward, but you can pump that in. Sungai Klar Hot Springs Resort is the last example that I will show to you. This is just an ordinary resort, but it's a very, very nice place in a very nice cooling area in the outskirts of Sungai Perak in Malaysia. What I measured is the temperature during the hot July season with my thermologgers. 1 week without rain, this is typical standard. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 weeks without rain. Just allow me to show you this. The inside temperature at 7 a.m. with the air condition, this is not the Daikin technology, very obsolete technology. At a set point of 24 and then 26 in the adjacent room is still 25.5 degrees Celsius. But the outside temperature that we gain at the same morning, is a very hot morning, is 25.3 degrees Celsius for free. So what do you want? Do you want to pay for that, or do you want to get something as a little bit of free ride of 28 watt and above? Okay, let the guests decide. I think this is a good idea to create all the facilities and the devices, and the guest himself could decide. Some prefer fresh and humid over cool and dry. I have done a survey in Penang, where I found out that 50% of condominiums, is similar like you, would prefer to sleep with fans. They don't want air conditions. Only if the temperature gets too high, then I use air conditioning. When I enter the room, many expats, they are using it the same way. They cool themselves down until 12. Even myself in the hotel after 12 o'clock last night, I switch off. I don't need any more air conditioning at this point in time. So we can subsidize that. So this is just the weather log, as you can see what we can do with the device. When the inside temperature in a normally ventilated room, opening on the windows, relying on the breeze, is still almost 30 degrees Celsius, which is typical, and the outside temperature is 26.5 degrees Celsius in early morning. The cross ventilation breeze-in temperature with a thermoventilator, this is the name of the product that you will see later if you want, is 27.9 degrees Celsius, so you can save about 2/3 of the hotness that at normal building where the walls are like heaters, are still storing the heat until the next morning the next heat wave comes in via the roof, but that's a different topic. Okay, I think that's what I wanted to show to you. Thanks a lot. I will also introduce to you Mr. Tobias Gesch from Germany, and he's partnering up with me just to answer some questions if you like to. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great. I think if we can install the device in in our seminar next time, maybe everyone will stay awake. And anyway, we're coming to the end of the program, and but now we have something about the community. So sustainability. There's a few aspects to sustainability, and let's not forget about besides the environmental and the economic benefits, let's not forget to include social sustainability, so involving the community so that every aspect of the community can also be sustainable. So today we have 2 groups to share with you, and let's see if you can think of a way to work with these community groups. So the first group, I'd like to call upon Mr. Joseph Chia. He's a very dedicated man. He founded the CARES Animal Shelter, and he has dedicated his life to the saving the animals and taking care of strays and neglected animals. So he would like to share a bit about the shelter with you and maybe how the hotel industry can work with them.
Thank you, Sharon. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank the event organizer for inviting us for this event. Okay, CARES was set up sometime in 2001, and it's set up as an NGO, non-profit organization to help strays that are in JB and abandoned animals, cats and dogs. Yeah. Occasionally, we do get people surrendering birds, and we even rescued a horse once. Yep. Okay. Basically, we are always short of fund. We also have constraint of space. So even though we like to be a public shelter, we do try to control the population that comes in. All right. And we are no-kill shelter. And food-wise, we depend on donation. So we hope that the hotel industries, because you generate quite a lot of wastage in terms of the food, we hope that this food can be used to feed the animals. The logistic and the collection-wise, we will work that out. If any interested party, you can come and talk to us at our table there. Yeah, I think it works in a good way, in a green way. As you know, there are good bacteria that eat up certain waste, so that we have good and hungry dogs that will also eat up the food waste for you. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, CARES set up a bit late, but they are at that table over there next to Jaro, and they are having a few items for sale. So they have a nice towel with some puppies on it that is selling for bath towel, 30 ringgit, and also the t-shirts are very attractive. Okay, so do have a look. Anyway, think about it. When there's a will, there's a way, right? To work something out between how to capture all that really good quality food, which is suitable for the animals, and how to channel it rather than throwing it and it ends up in the landfill. Okay, the next group is Jaro. Jaro is the Johor Area Rehabilitation Organization, and I would like to invite another Mr. Joseph to brief you about that. Maybe we don't have time for the video, but they have brought a lot of their handmade items, which is for sale, and you can also do made to order, right? Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Joseph, and thank you, Sharon, for inviting us. See, Jaro is a rehabilitation center for the disabled, people with disability. So we have 3 workshops, which is the bookbinding, basketry, or we call it rattan weaving, and also sewing. These workshops were made to teach the disabled handiwork, where they learn how to do some work and have a working experience so that they will be able to go out and find employment outside, right? And if they're unable to do that, we retain them as employees, and that's where they make all the handicrafts that you can see over there later. And we sell these handicrafts to make some money and run our operations. So that's Jaro in a nutshell. What we also do that most people do not realize is that we repurpose a lot of things. Almost 30% of our products are made from repurposed materials. For example, sample wallpaper, sample fabrics, all of this we repurpose into products. And we also use another 40% of natural product, which is the cane, the rattan. It's a natural source of product. And we do notice that most hotels are like, for your washroom and for the waste paper basket and all that, you can use some of our natural cane products, which is quite sustainable and it lasts quite a long time, right? And our profits that we make from our sales currently do not really support us that much. We rely heavily on donations. But what we like to appeal to the hotels and also to any corporate organization is to purchase from us. And by purchasing our product, you support us financially and you also boost up the confidence of our staff. You know, the more products that they make, And the more they sell, they feel that they are being appreciated. And that's how our staff really gets motivated. And thank you very much for the opportunity. We can stop by at our small corner over there and have a view of our products. And also get in touch with me if you need to make any large orders or want to figure out what you can do to help us. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we've come to the end of the program. Now, I'd like to invite everyone to the refreshments area. Please feel free to stay as long as you like and have some refreshments, visit the booths. 3 things before you go. One is, could you kindly return this name tag so that we can reuse it again? And the second thing is, we will be putting all the information about the speakers, the talks from today, the program, up on this website, zureli.green. So you just need to go there and look for the green talks. The third thing is, I can't remember. Oh yeah, the third thing is that there will be a tour of Sunway Iskandar, you know, and you can see the huge development with the river that looks like the Amazon and all that. So that will be around 12:15. Now it's about 11:17. So when everyone is ready to go for the tour, about 12 or 12:15, do let the Sunway staff know that you're interested, okay? Thank you very much. And hope to see you again and have fruitful networking. And let's hope that this event leads to more green initiatives. Thank you, everybody.